In this video, I'm going to be doing a very quick overview on our new notebook, our SOAP notebook. And this is really catered towards inpatient medicine. And primarily it's going to be for the intern or resident or maybe a subi, where really what it was designed for is, when I was an intern, what I used to always do is I would carry around this kind of a stack of paper that I would fold kind of in the hot dog way. And it would have various things of just like your subjective or overnight events, objective, kind of the ins and outs, labs, assessment and plan, and then on the other side it would be to-dos, and I could just kind of flip through all my patients and keep this in my white coat. And that worked okay, and what I ultimately ended up doing is I ended up just printing out a template that I would kind of print out every single day and fold it up, but it got very disorganized. So you'd be like flipping through all your pages and your attending would be asking you a question about such and such patient, and you kind of be flipping through all of them, and they would ask me about yesterday's labs or yesterday's whatever, and it would just be very disorganized over time as you start holding a lot more patients, right? At the end of it, beginning of intern year, you're maybe carrying a couple patients, and that's fine to use a piece of paper like that. But over time, you're carrying like 8 or 10 patients, and that's when it gets a lot more tricky. So that's what this notebook does. Is essentially, it's a very simple notebook. There's nothing to it, right? It's exactly what I just showed you, but in a one-page template format. So you have your events and your subjective, you have your vital signs, your ins and outs. You do have a physical exam, so if you need assistance, especially early on in terms of what is a normal physical exam, you can kind of look here and kind of sound somewhat educated while you're going through your presentation. You got labs and your assessment and plan, and then a big section for to-dos and updates, right? Because the majority of being a good intern is being organized, right? And so you have to have a good to-do section, a good place where you can put all these different updates, to-dos, and really every single template looks exactly the same. So you turn over, they're all exactly the same. So it's really just a one-page template. You could do it however you would like. You could either have, set aside multiple this patient's going to be here for 5 days, so you can kind of set aside 5 different days for them. Or what you can do is you can say, this is patient A, this is patient B, this is patient C, patient D, like your entire patients for the day. Sometimes I've seen people use those sticky tabs so they can kind of keep track of who's who, or you can just kind of have them all in one location. You're just kind of flipping through them, and you just have a sticky tab going this way that says, okay, this is Wednesday, then move on a little bit farther, this was Thursdays, this was Fridays, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a very simple template that you can use and just kind of keep this in your white coat pocket and have everything all in one location. It's really specific. It's designed primarily for interns, also residents as well who are managing the interns, but primarily for inpatient medicine. It's not going to be for your outpatient setting. Really going to have a very specific use for this. Each template is going to have, or each notebook is going to have a reference sheet, just like other medicine style notebooks that we have. It's going to have similar tips that you can kind of use along the way. And if you use it, great. If you don't, you can just kind of keep it tucked away in your notebook, that if you needed something to reference, you can definitely well do so. Just a quick overview on what exactly this notebook is and kind of what its use may be for. Be sure to check out medicalbasics.com for more educational resources like our H&P notebook, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tips and lessons.